Good morning. Good afternoon. I wanted to start with with a video because a lot of people in this country, when you talk about child slavery, it's very hard for them to wrap their minds around it. You hear child slavery, say, well, that was a long time ago, or you look at the internet, but child slavery is real, and it's still a very much part of Haiti. The worst part about child slavery in Haiti today, I think the children who were slaves in Haiti long time ago during real slavery, during colonial slavery, were a lot better off than child slavery today. Did you hear me? Children who were in slavery during colonial time, that means when these children were to be owned by white people in a plantation, they were a lot better off then than they are today in Haiti. Okay? A lot better off. We're talking about children who were spending their time beside their mom and dad working in planting cotton, planting tobaccos, or picking cotton, or whatever. And they could be sold at any minute, and they could be beaten at any minute. They were in the best situation then than they are today. Okay, and I wanted to show you, to give you an idea why they are better, and I want to show this video to you. I'm not going to show the whole thing. You said I can take as much time as I want.
You guys have to go to second bell?
No. Okay.
So if we go over a little bit, we'll just make an announcement.
All
Take
right.
as much time as you want, my
Okay.
friend.
So go ahead and start it and turn off the light a little bit. All right.
I just want to make sure we start it recording.
Children in slavery today, they're a lot worse off than colonial time. You see the whips on her arm. During slavery in the 1700, 1800, the people who owned the slaves, they will not beat the children because they're valuable. They can sell them $200, $300, so they don't want to bruise on them. These children today, they are given away for free, and they can be killed. When I was a child, I knew kids like my age, 10, 11 years old, who stole something from the house, and then they would get killed. They would beat them to death. They don't worth anything. In colonial time, when a child, like I said earlier, the children stay with their parents, and at the end of the day, there's a sense of community. Their parents hug them, they love them, they can have a conversation with adults, But these children, if you own today, they don't talk to you. There's no affection. In other words, today, there's no such thing as a sense of community for a child like that. When I was a child, I lived with a family, and I was 4 years old. The family didn't purchase me. My mother died. I was born out of wedlock. And if you are a child in Haiti today, your mother died, you're born out of wedlock, chances are, and if your father said, this is not my child, chances are you are doomed. You are going to suffer for the rest of your life. And that was my situation when I was 4 years old. I was given to a family. The name Cadet, that's not my name. My mother had named me something else. The family didn't even say, when they handed me over to them, they didn't say, what's his name? How old is he? Do you have his date of birth? Is there a birth certificate? What was his parents' name? They don't do that. It's like accepting a puppy. When I came with the family, they didn't ask what was his name. They called me Bobby. I slept under the kitchen table. I never had a bed, not on a mattress, on a piece of cardboard or a piece of carpet. And I had a dress, an old dress, and that was my sheet. And if I wanted a pillow, I used the back of a little chair. I put the chair down and I put my head on the back of this chair as a pillow. You're talking about you're the first one to get up in the morning, usually at 5, and then you sweep the yard, you pick up trash, you light the charcoal fire, you wash the car, you go to the market, you go fetch water, you prepare the adult's bath, and while you do all those things, no one talks to you. In fact, you don't talk until spoken to. So this is the reason why child slavery today is a lot worse than colonial time. There's no such a thing as affection. You see affection. You see mothers and fathers hugging their child, pat them on the head, and say, "You're beautiful, and I love you, you're smart," and everything else. You don't get that. I never got it. What's made it worse, though, the worst children in that situation, the worst are, the people who are worst off are little girls. And if you are a little girl, you are unlucky enough to have been born a girl. You find yourself in servitude. Your situation is a lot worse, which means that boys usually escape, they run away. By the time they're 16, they form gangs and they survive. The street would be a lot worse for a girl. No protection. And what made it worse for girls is that when they reach puberty, I don't have to tell you what happened to them when they reach puberty. Sometimes they get pregnant, they just kick them out. If they are sick, they just kick them out. There is no social service agencies that will say you're not supposed to treat the girl like that. No, the whole society is a culprit on the way that the children are treated. 90% of children who are slaves in Haiti happen to be girls. They're between the age of 5 and 17. And you will find 21-year-old. I know a few 21-year-old slaves. Never been to school, never had a day of schooling in their lives. Now, with myself, okay, I didn't go to school. Well, I never went to school as a child in Haiti. I went to a literacy center in the afternoon from 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, only if my chores were done. If my chores are not done, I can't go. Because the priority was not education. The priority was to serve the family. I was 10 years old when I went to a literacy center and I learned ABCs 1, 2, 3. Two years later, after 2 years, I could write somebody's name, I could count. They said, "You don't go anymore." Why would they say that? Because I am not their child. They're not related to me biologically. I was there to serve them. And I consider myself very, very, very lucky because somehow fate had a way of controlling or put me in different situations. The family decided to move to the United States, to America, in search of a better life. When you have a society that is so used to having a slave doing everything for them, they like that way of life. Now, in the United States, you have slavery. And do people wanted to give that way of life? No. I mean, it took a civil war to end slavery in the United States because the Southerners did not want to give this up. It's a way of life. Well, it's the same as in Haiti today. It's a way of life. Once you're used to having a child doing everything for you, You want to have another one. You want, you get up in the morning, you want this child to prepare your bath. You want the child to do everything for you. This lady that I live with, if she's getting dressed in the morning, I have to go fetch her shoes. I have to hook up her bra. I have to do everything. I give her manicures and pedicures. We never have a conversation. Never a hug. She can, yeah?
I don't want to interrupt you, but I had a
Yeah.
question. I'm thinking, as you're talking about the families that are giving their kids away,
Yeah.
as a mother or a grandmother, I can't imagine doing that, even if I was in poverty. And I have to believe that the families now know what's happening to these kids.
A lot of
How do
time,
parents do that?
a lot of time they don't know.
They still don't know?
No. Some people don't know. No, the word is spreading. If your parents live in a house, you live in a hut. The hut, you're so poor, the hut is made of straw, right? Or mud. And you have 5 children.
Yeah.
There are no schools in the area. And someone from the city who is well dressed, who came around with a car and said, if you let one of your children to live with me way in Port-au-Prince, we're talking about 9 hours drive away, I promise you I will send your child to school, and your child will learn a profession, and then your child will come back, and then we move you out of poverty. That is a big incentive to turn down.
Do they at least know they're going to do some work for them, though?
Yeah, they know. Yeah,
Surely
they know.
They don't think I'm just going to take your child to be nice.
No, they know the child will do work. Okay, they know that, and they also know that in their mind, if this person is wealthy, this person will send my child to school. Okay, so this is the reason why. And a lot of times too, a child slave would be a niece or a nephew in the home. Because in Haiti, there's no such a thing as a social security system. The child is the social security, which means that you spend as much as you can on your own child's education, because when you're old, you want this child, who is now a lawyer, to take care of you. So you will spend on your own child. You will not spend on other people's children. Because the idea is, if you spend, let's say you adopt the child. Adoption does not exist in Haiti. Haitians don't adopt children. Because they're afraid if they adopt a child and they invest in this child, when the child grows up and becomes a mechanic or a doctor, that child will help his own family. That's the mentality. So this is the reason why nobody cares for somebody else's child. The family came to New York, and with a fake, now if you look at that piece there, the man said, with $10,000, I will sell you this child, and then I will also find you fake papers to bring the child to the United States. And it's easy to do it. That's the way I came to the United States, with fake papers. And the way you do it, you can buy a blank birth certificate. I was never registered, my birth was never registered anywhere in Haiti. You get a blank birth certificate, you fill out the name, and then the person who's going to receive this child, who was going to traveling with this child, the person said, this is my biological child. I am the mother. This is the father. Then you take that fake birth certificate, you can have it stamped, it looks official. You take it to the American embassy. You get a Haitian passport, and then the American embassy will stamp this passport, give permission to come to the United States with this child. And that's how I came to America. According to my birth certificate, I was born in February. They pick a date. Okay? And then they put their name Cadet. And they said that's his name. You have a question? I know my real name. I will tell you my real name. I found my real name 2001. 2001, I discovered what my real name was. Okay? So when I came to America, okay, illegally, I came to the home in New York, and the family told me nothing has changed. You're going to get up in the morning, you're going to set the table for breakfast, you're going to prepare the children for school, you're going to wash the car, you're going to clean the bathroom, you're going to vacuum the house, you're going to make the beds, you're going to wash the dishes. You are to do all those things I used to do in Haiti. They had shoe polish for me to shine their shoes. The only thing I didn't have to do when I came to America was to go out and fetch water with a bucket. That's the only thing I didn't have to do. Yeah.
So what motivates you to keep going, like when you get beaten and stuff?
What's motivated me? Well, that's a good point. The question you ask is that what's motivated me, okay? I grew up seeing children. When I was a little boy, I would hear a woman who owns a house, or someone who would say, I need a child to stay with me. I need a child to help me. And then a few days later, a child appeared, just like I had been brought to this family I was living with. So over time, we realized that there were children like us all over the place. We actually believed this was a normal situation. You understand? It's a normal situation. You make the best of it. Okay? Now, when I came to America with the family, they didn't send me to school. I was between 15 or 17. I could have been 18. I've never had a birthday. I don't know how old I am right now. I don't know. The family I live with, yes, they had birthdays for their children. I sung happy birthday to their children. But I actually believe children like us didn't have birthdays. Okay? I actually believe children like us didn't have birthdays. If you look at the little girl in the video, they ask her, what is your dream? What do you want to do? What do you want to do when you grow up? She said, what? I want to drive a car. Right. I didn't have a dream when I was a child. Even when I came to the United States, I didn't know what I wanted to be because I was never around adults to listen to them say to their children, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a mechanic, you're going to be a teacher. I never had a dream. Everything that happened to me happened to be fate. You might say luck. Some people might say God. I don't know if it's God because I have never been to church in my life. I was never allowed to go to church, so I don't even believe in God. But I know there is a force. Okay? Now, I'm in the house. Someone from Haiti who knew the family, who knew me, and came and said, is Bobby going to school? No, Bobby's not going to school. Bobby is here to work. Bobby can't go to school because Bobby never been to school. He can only read and write, barely read and write. What class they're going to put him? Then that person said, if you don't send Bobby to school, you're going to get in trouble with the law. Aha! They don't want to get in trouble with the law. So what did they do? They enrolled me in a high school. Okay? They enrolled me in high school. And I was placed in the 10th grade. And I didn't speak English. They enrolled me in a high school. Okay? Didn't speak English. And there were two teachers at the school, Mr. Max Rubinowitz and the French teacher. Those two teachers took me to their office every day during their planning period, and they tutored me every day. Well, why did they send me to America? Why did they bring me? To work. Now, guess what? At the house, after school, first time in my life, I was spending all day in school. When I got home, the school bus dropped me up at the corner near the house. I walked in. I wish I wish I could disappear because they were angry because the car was not washed, the bathroom is not clean, the sink is full of dishes, the beds are not made. They were angry. I knew eventually they would do something drastic, which means what? You no longer need it. Get out of my house. Yes. A few months later, they said, get out of my house. Get out of my house. Now, if you have a dog, you've had this dog for a long time, the dog dies, you're going to feel sad. You're going to miss your dog. Why is it that these people can say to me, get out of my house? I've been living with them since I was 4 years old. I've lived with them for maybe 12, 13 years. And they can say, get out of my house. Which means that we never bonded. I never once sat at a table, have dinner with them, breakfast. If they're going to the movies, or if they're going to go away for the weekend, they lock the door. Every door to the house, and they left me in the yard. Okay? So it's easy for them to say, get out of my house, and don't feel any remorse. Because we never bonded. We never had a conversation. They never hugged me. Okay? And when they said, get out of my house, the only place I knew where to go was the all-night laundromat. Why the all-night laundromat? Because our clothes could not mix. I mean, it's hard for you to understand because they were black, like me. In fact, I was lighter skinned than they are. Yeah, my skin was lighter than their skin. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with a cultural issue. It has to do with your class. My mother happened to be illiterate housekeeper, the lowest class. So nobody's going to take that low class child and raise them up. That's the mentality. So I couldn't wash my clothes in the same washing machine every week. They gave me 75 cents. They said, go to the laundromat. That's where you wash your clothes, in a public laundromat. Because my clothes were not to mix with their clothes. Fortunately for me, that laundromat opened 24 hours a day. That's where I went to sleep. In the morning, I get up early. I go to the high school, to the gym. I took my shower there sometimes. In the weekend, weekdays, after school, there were kids in the neighborhood, black kids. I would go to their yard. I hung around. Wait when their mom and dad said, when it's time to eat. I know if I'm there, if I wait long enough, somebody's going to give you something to eat. Now, keep in mind, the culture is totally different. The first time I got up early, I went to this kid's house, hung around, and his mom said, there's some, come and eat, and I kind of tried to get in, and she was a nice lady. She said, okay, well, we'll give you something to eat. And then after I ate, I said, thank you. She said, oh, anytime. I thought anytime meant anytime. So Sunday morning, bright and early, I got up from the laundromat. Bright and early, I went knocking on the door. Then I learned, that's the reason I tell you this is because I didn't understand anything about American culture, and I still don't today. There's a lot of things I still don't understand. Well, I was being bullied by a girl, a white girl. She caught me in the cafeteria. There was a kid a table, the kids just leaving, going to class. And then sometime I would walk by a table. If there's a half-eaten slice of pizza, I would take it. If there was a leftover food or French fries, yes, I would do. And I got caught one day, and this girl would stick her fingers down her throat. She would go, ah, like that, every time she saw me in the hallway. And one day I started crying, and my social studies teacher said, "Why are you crying?" And I told him, "I don't have a home. I'm living." I never told them that the kid was making fun of me. But what really was bothering me, I was crying, not because I was being bullied, because I was used to being bullied. Because that's what we experience every day being as a slave child. We'd be bullied. So I told this teacher, "I don't have a home. I'm sleeping in a laundromat." And this wonderful teacher helped me get on the welfare system. He helped me get a roommate, and then I paid the roommate with the welfare checks, and I kept the food stamps. And 6 months later, my English got improved. I started working at a gas station, pumping gas, and I worked from 4 to midnight. And I went to school 7:30 to 4, 7:30 to 3, 4 to midnight. I took the bus every day. I never missed a day of school. Never. And within 3 years, 3.5 years or 4 years, I graduated. I had a high school diploma. I made C's and D's. The counselors at the school knew I was struggling with English. They never once called me in and said, "There's an option after high school." They never once said that. But I was working at a gas station, so I continued working there. And then one day, my day off, I usually work Saturday and Sundays, and I would have a weekday off, sometimes 2 weekdays off. And at that time, that's when I used to walk long, just visit different neighborhoods. And this is where fate come in. I saw a building. It looked kind of huge windows, and I happened to look inside, and there were posters on the wall, posters of soldiers jump out of airplane, posters of tanks. And I was just curious. I am very curious. And I said, "Well, look at those posters. They remind me of those World War II movies I like." So I walked in the building, and this guy in a uniform said, "May I help you?" And I said, "I work in a gas station. I change oil in cars. And I wonder, how hard is it? Is it difficult to change oil in a tank?" And he said, he had the biggest smile on his face. At that time, the Vietnam War was just about to wind down, and he said, "You've come to the right place," smiling. And I thought, what a nice man. I thought he had a tank in the backyard. He was going to show me how to change oil. And then he said, "Well, come back tomorrow about 9:30. And then I, come back a couple of days later. I took a day off, and I showed up, and there drove me. There was a bus waiting, and I noticed there were lots of young men my age, and they took us in a bus, and they took us downtown. And then I thought, that's where the tanks are, downtown. And then we took a test, writing test, and I thought, this must be a very special tank. All I want to know is how to get that bolt loosened and the oil drop, and then where do you put the oil filter? That's all I wanted to know. I had no idea what was going on. And then I passed the test. There were people who didn't pass. I couldn't believe there were people who couldn't pass the test. But I passed the test. And then he said, "Okay, everybody on your feet, raise your right hand and repeat after me." We took a note. And I thought, this must be a top secret tank. You have to take a note to learn how to drain the oil from that tank. Then he gave me another appointment and said, "Okay." Then I showed up again, and there was a big bus waiting, all those young men again. And then they drove us to a military base called Fort Dix, New Jersey. And there were tanks all over the place. I said, "Whoa, look at all these tanks." I was so happy. It was tank heaven. And that's when I found out, and I said, I have to go back, I have to go to work, I want to learn this very quickly so I can go back to work. And he said, son, you belong to Uncle Sam. You're here for 3 years. Yeah, he signed me up for 3 years. Never told me, but I signed the papers. You see? And then I stayed there for 3 years. And then the Army helped me become a U.S. citizen. Yeah, they took my fake papers. For the first time in my life, I saw a doctor. I was examined by a doctor. For the first time in my life, I saw a dentist. For the first time in my life, I had a real pillow. For the first time in my life, I had a bed and a blanket, a roof over my head. And I could eat 4 meals a day without, it's just like the Army. I thought the Army was the best thing that ever happened to me. Then I realized there were some guys who would go AWOL. That must be crazy. They're going AWOL. You get food. And at the end of the month, they give you a check. And people were still going AWOL. Man, I couldn't believe they were going AWOL. So why would you go AWOL? But I thought they were crazy, And after 3 years, the sergeant called me and said, Gomer. They call me Gomer Pyle. I never knew why, but I was a little unusual. They said, Gomer, do you want to go to college under the GI Bill, or would you re-enlist? And I said, well, college. Now, keep in mind, I told you the counselor at the school never even called me in to talk to me about option. And there's a sergeant said, you can go to college under the GI Bill, and GI Bill will pay for your college education. I thought there was only maybe one college in each state. And I was in Seattle, and then I took a taxi with my duffel bag, and I told the sergeant, Sarge, what if I go to college and spend this GI Bill thing, and then I don't make it, I flunk out? He said, you can always come back. I said, wow, I have something to fall back on. But I forgot to ask him the most important question. Where is a college? I forgot to ask him that. So I took a taxi, and I told the taxi, take me to the airport. And when we got to the airport, and the taxi says, which airline? Whoa, nobody ever asked me that before. So the first sign I saw, it says Northwest Airlines. So I said, yeah, this one, Northwest. And then there was a lady at the counter. And then I went over to her, and I said, excuse me, ma'am, my uniform, my duffel bag, and all the money I had saved for 3 years, cash, big pile of money. And then I said, I'm looking for a state that is nice and warm because it's cold in Seattle. I'm tired of the snow here. I'm looking for a warm state, and a warm state that has a college in it. She called security. I don't know why she would call security, but she did. She called security. She thought perhaps I escaped from a mental institution. I don't know. She looked at me that way. And then they checked me out. Yeah, I guess he's legit. He has a uniform on. And then she said, we have a flight to Tampa, Florida. Do you want it? I said, yeah. She said, you want a round trip? I said, no, one way. So I paid for the ticket, landed in Tampa. And then I took a taxi. I told the taxi driver, take me to a college. And he said, which one? I said, I don't care. Where I can get a 4-year degree. Where I can go to school for a 4-year degree. So, how many of you are seniors? If you can't make up your mind, go to the airport. Okay, you want to go to college? Go to the airport. It worked for me. So I studied international affairs, and I couldn't get a job in my major. I didn't even choose to study international affairs. The counselor at the school recommended it. So I said, okay, I'll take it. Then I couldn't get a job in international affairs, and then he said, then I decided to become a teacher. So I went back to school again, working as a dishwasher, working as a waiter. Then I studied French and I studied history. Why? Because the two people who helped me, the French teacher and the history teacher. So I decided to become a French and a history teacher. And my first job, not a job, I finished my teacher training and I was sent to do my internship at this large high school. And my supervising teacher, she was very nice. She said to me she was leaving for Cincinnati. That's where she's from. At the end of the school year, she said she would recommend me for her job. Hey, I was happy. And she left. She left Florida and she went to Cincinnati. And then we kept writing to each other. I had a crush on her. And I think she had a crush on me too. Yes, yeah. So we write to each other for the entire year. Okay? No email. Okay? Just no. We didn't have computers yet. Okay? That was 1988, around 1988. No computers yet. So we would write to each other. And then I finished the school year, and then she called me. She said, do you have plans for the summer? I said, no, I'll go fishing. And she said, why don't you drive to Cincinnati and see me? Well, she had some plans. I didn't have any plans, never had any plans. She said, come to Cincinnati. Of course, I forgot to ask her the most important question. Is it cold there? Because I was always trying to avoid I forgot that question. Is it cold? When you're in love or somebody has a piece of your heart and said, come over, you just go. She could have been in the middle of the ocean, in a boat surrounded by sharks. She said, swim over. Yeah, I would, but I get to Cincinnati. And then she said, I cooked dinner for her, and she said, you want to get married? The dinner was very good. That's why she said, you want to get married? I said, sure, why not? So we got married. Yes? So you want to get married? Yeah, sure, I'll marry. Like that. So we got married, but the problem was, though, someone like me getting married is that you've never been part of a family, and I didn't know what a family was about. We got married. She is a strong woman. To be still married to me, I'll tell you what, that. So I would go to the grocery store, and then I see a movie theater. Oh, there's a movie. I would go. And I got home later, 4 hours later. Where were you? I was at the movies. She would be upset. Why were you upset? I don't know why she would be upset, but she would be upset. Well, you could have well, I was there. The movie's there, so I went. But I'm your wife. I said, I know, but I want to see the movie. So it's just to give you an idea what it's like for somebody like me to be. She didn't know these things. Then she started asking me, and do I have more time?
No, don't.
Oh.
That look was not for you.
Okay.
But we did sort of want you to know, if you need to beat the buses,
Yes.
then you would have to probably exit the building by about 2 o'clock.
Okay, good.
Otherwise, if you don't mind staying until 2:30.
Okay, no problem. So these are some of it's important that I tell you that part. So you have an idea, because I started telling you that a child in slavery, colonial slavery, 16, 17, 1800, they know what a family is. But a child who are in a Restavec today, a child slave, they don't know what family is. So I didn't know that I had to, in a moment. So, my wife would say, oh, my friend Cheryl invited us to dinner. She didn't invite me. She invited you. I never knew a dinner invitation to her automatically extended to me. So it's a lot. I mean, it was like tough. And then she kept asking me, tell me about your background. I mean, when we got married, you know, the left side of the church was for the groom, the right side of the church for the bride. My side was empty. She had to ask her brother to be my best man. Then her family kept thinking I was under the witness protection program. Because I want to talk about my background. I'm too ashamed, you know. I'm too ashamed. And I was teaching for Cincinnati Public Schools. I never share that with my students. Never. You know, to me this was a secret. I was going to die with it. Because you don't want to tell somebody you married, I used to be a slave. No, I wanted to die with this. You know, I wanted to keep this secret. But you can't keep a secret from a wife. No, you can't. It's impossible. So when my son was 6 years old, we have a son, and my son said, you know, we're celebrating his 6th birthday, and my son said, Dad, how come I've never met my grandma and grandpa on your side of the family? And everybody in the room was looking at me, just like you're staring at me now. They're waiting for an answer. And they were thinking I was going to say, well, I'm under the witness protection program. No, I grabbed a toy and I said to my son, here, play with this, just to get in his mind. And then off the question. And then after I put him to bed that night, I decided to write a short story to tell him how I spent my childhood, but in a way that a child would understand. And then this letter evolved into 5, 7, 8 notebooks. And my wife, of course, even though I had put them in a lock and key, but, you know, like I say, you can't keep secret from your wife. They have a way of finding this thing out. But she found my manuscripts or my letters. And then she said, you should publish this. This is a book. And I said, no. She said, yes. I said, no. She said, if you publish it, the world will know about child slavery in Haiti. I said, well, it's too personal. I said, over my dead body. I was firm. But, well, guess what? It got published. And that's really what took me to Oprah, the United Nations, and all over the world. But today, I decided to fight the problem. To fight a problem like that, you have to understand the culture, and then you have to understand how to reach the Haitian population at a subconscious level. So I decided to do this with song. So I did my first music video, which is going to be launched next week. I'm sorry, in 2 weeks. And then I wanted to show it to you to give you an idea. Very fast, only 3 minutes long.
Fantastic.
To show you that if you look at the piece where the girl is pushed down, you know what happened to her. And this is very important to me because I want to show the nation the plight of these girls, what they go through. This video cost me $6,000 to produce. I sold my books to do it. It's going to be launched April 2nd in Haiti. I will be there to launch it, to do radio shows. That's how you bring this to the open, and it becomes a national conversation. So this is one of the main things that I do in Haiti. I've rescued children. I've done, because if you don't know the culture, to be able to, all those people in the video, they're volunteers. So that means that there was a sense that people were beginning to sensitize. There was a national movement, but it must continue. So that's what I do. It takes a lot of time. The new book, which came out in October, in a moment, on the back, the last page, there's a call to action. On the call to action page is state what what is it that can be done? And this is the main thing, the main tool that I've put in place to fight this problem. So it's being implemented in 2 weeks. So you have a question?
Yeah, I actually have two. My first one was asking if you, like, since you're in Haiti, do you talk to your dad or, like, do you associate?
My dad died long time ago, so yeah, so I don't have a dad. By the way, I have never, ever, during my childhood, used the word mom and dad. Those words are not in my vocabulary. Yeah?
What was the chorus in your song?
What is what?
The chorus in your song.
Oh, okay. It says that all children are created equal. It's time for us to open our heart and minds to see all children as God's children. Children don't ask to be born. They don't ask where they should live. So they are the future of Haiti. You know, there are words that reaches and touch people at a subconscious level. So when they hear this song and it plays in their mind, then a person who notices his neighbor has a child in slavery, then that person is more likely to go and say, you know, let's do something different. So that's the purpose of the song, and then the purpose of that's the purpose of the music video. Yeah?
After you got married and stuff, was you feared of having a family, like having kids, because you did not know how it truly felt to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When I didn't want to have children. Again, you can't say no to your wife about anything, really. I discovered that. I mean, that must be done, you know. It's anyway. But anyway, we have the son. He just graduated from an art academy in New York, so he's an actor. He's 20 years old. I never knew that. I thought I was the only parent who felt like killing their kids. You know, I wanted to kill him sometimes. I said, man, I better not tell people I want to kill my kid. Then I found a lot of parents say, I wanted to kill him. Then I can say this. But because I think I spoil him because I try to give him everything I've never had. You know, I hug him he walks by and says, come here, and I would hug him. So I kind of love him to death, you know. But he's a great young man. He's still a work in progress. You know, he lives in New York. My stepdaughter is the one I actually dedicated the book to. She was 5 years old when I married my wife, and she's basically why I agreed to marry my wife, because we bonded so fast, and it's like she was my kid, and I couldn't say, you know, walk away from her life. So I dedicated this book to her. Yeah.
I'm Mackenzie.
Huh?
Or,
She's Mackenzie.
Yeah. Hi, Mackenzie.
I just seen your. Always wanted to know, like, why don't you have like a wedding ring or anything?
It's big. It kept, you know, I keep losing it. You know what I mean? I keep losing it, and then on this finger right here, I hurt the finger. You know, I had a cut there, so I removed it. You know, so the wound would heal. See the wound right there? Get there? Yeah. But I have it. You know, yeah.
Do you see that your former slave owners, like how you talk to them?
No, I haven't seen them since. Well, I haven't seen them, and I don't look for them because it would make me angry to, you know, see them. You know, yeah.
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Same question, dear Alicia?
Yeah.
What's her real name? Florence?
No, her name was Marie, so I call her. When you write a book like this, you know, the editor or the publisher suggests that you change all the names. You give everybody fictitious names. Yeah?
How do you feel about them reading the book and, like,
Find out what's them.
yeah.
Like, what would they think?
Well, their children their children have read the book. And one time they called me and they said, because they were very small when I left. Maybe there could have been maybe 7 around there. It's just one day they got up, when they woke up in the morning one day, I was not there. And the girl said, I thought you were part of the family. You know, but she doesn't want to be my friend because that would hurt hurt her parents, you know. So we don't have any kind of relationship at all. Yeah.
Also, are you like famous in like Haiti now since you made a book and a music video?
Yeah, I'm well known in Haiti, and I do a lot of radio shows in Haiti. You have to sensitize the population. I mean, I'm going to have a huge press conference when I introduce this music video. It's something it's never been done before. But I know it will make a difference because I know my environment, I know my culture. A Haitian poet actually wrote the song for me because I gave the Haitian poet pictures of children carrying children to school, children in servitude. So she knows, how to reach the population at a subconscious level. Yeah. Yeah?
So there aren't any laws that involve Restavec, right, in Haiti?
No. There are. The Constitution said every child is entitled to an education. Nobody follows that part in the Constitution. If I notice a Restavec girl being abused, beaten, and I call the police, and the police will examine her, and if she is bleeding, she looks like she's half dead, she has to be half dead for the police to actually do something. The police will actually put her in jail and then ask the owner to go find the biological parent. And the biological parent would come, and the police would hand the child over to the biological parent. And that's the only time, you can intervene. But I knew people who called the police sometimes, and then I would go to the police station because I want the child to be released to me so I can find a family for the child. Sometimes the biological parents of the children are so illiterate. I mean, they don't know, they can't count. They're illiterate. So they would give the child right back to the owner, especially if the owner is related to them. Okay? So the way I've really saved a lot of children, and some of them are living in Cincinnati, and one of them, you can see her on YouTube. If you type my name in Sanjay Gupta, or Dina, D-I-N-A, Sanjay Gupta / my name. Okay, this is a child. She now is living in New Jersey. I purchased her for $100.
Yeah, she was the one that carries the water.
Right, yes.
Times a day.
Right, yes. I purchased her for $100 because I wanted to remove her. I told her to run away so I can help her. She tried to run away, but she got caught, so they kept her in the house. So I said,